Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating and following our socials. For the longest time, you've talked about tribe, clan, family, things like that.
Right.
What?
Again, these are staples in our belief system that we.
Right. Break it down for us. What is tribe? What is clan?
What's family?
What's family?
All right. Well, a family, of course, is your immediate family: mom, dad, sisters, brothers.
Okay.
When you get into clans, it's more of grandparents, aunts, uncles, your immediate family, but not your immediate family. Are you with me?
Right.
It's that bigger family.
Right.
At large.
So that would be like
All
aunts,
right.
cousins.
Cousins. Right. If we lived in a quote unquote tribal lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if pagans went out and said, okay, we're going to start our own community, like we've heard other places decide to do, right?
Right.
You know, we're gonna start this Christian community, or we're gonna start this Muslim community. If pagans decide to come together, the first layer there would be the tribe, and it would be, you know, we're gonna work on supporting each other first and foremost.
All right.
In our tribe. So again, why Bob down the road might not be part of my tribe, and I'm going to sell him stuff at market value, but people inside my tribe, I'm going to sell everything at cost.
Okay.
Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
And again, when you're talking about tribes, there are multiple clans inside of a tribe. All right. So, but again, that the treatment inside tribe is, I'm giving you a better price or deal because I'm going to automatically trust you. You're part of my tribe.
Right.
You know, which just means we share the exact same culture, the same beliefs, generally speaking, right?
Right.
The whole idea, we're all going to the same church. We're all going to the same temple. We're all worshiping. So we all hold the same values. All right. So basically, I should not have to worry about anybody in my tribe hitting on my partner.
Right.
Everybody's, no, we can't do that. We know who. Yeah. Now, when it comes to clans, though, the way it used to be done was if you were a woman and you got married to someone of a different clan, you would move to that clan's land and become a part of their family.
Okay.
And if you were a guy, you would marry somebody and you would bring your wife into your clan and get along with your mother and all that. And this was mainly done to, you know, weed out that whole inbreeding thing.
Right.
You know, that way we don't marry our first cousins too many times or something like that.
Which is always a nice thing, right?
Yeah, you know. It's nice to have a few branches off that tree. I'm just saying. Clan lifestyle used to give us the ability to where, yeah, you might have that uncle that never got married and all this, and okay, maybe an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever, but because they were kept on the clan's land and were never really allowed to go out onto the general populace without escort, their chances of getting trouble are down less.
Right.
Because you didn't want to look bad you didn't want anybody in your clan to make you look bad in front of all the other clans.
Right.
Because there's this mutual respect inside the tribe for each other. So again, you know, shame inside of cultures is not necessarily a bad thing all the time. All right. Shaming stuff over people that they can't control is completely different.
Right. Right. Things that can be controlled.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. If you have a tendency to go ahead and always hit on the wrong person, it's best to have a family member to go, maybe you shouldn't do that because we always know where in the world this winds up.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's not a good idea for you to have that third beer while we're at the restaurant. Let's go home and you can have that third beer then and that
Right.
fourth, and
You
you
can have a
pass out in
third.
your own house.
Exactly.
All right. Because nobody in the family is going to really get mad at you for you raising Cain out in the middle of your little, where in the world you are away from everybody else.
Right.
As long as you do your responsibility to the clan.
Mm-hmm.
Because inside clans, it was sort of like clans are about the only place where I will sit here and say socialism works.
Okay.
What I mean by that same uncle we were just talking about may be the main person that raises the pigs.
Right.
And as long as he raises the pigs and gives them so the whole family can have pigs, nobody cares that he gets drunk or whatever, as long as he
Right.
doesn't do it
And
out in public.
and he still gets his share.
And he still gets his share. And again, the reason this works only inside families is because at the end of the day, your grandma was not going to let any of her babies go to bed hungry.
Right.
And at the end of the day, in most clans, the eldest woman, your grandmother or your great grandmother, is the one pulling the strings going, no, everybody has to eat.
Right.
We all make the food together. We're all going to eat together. And, that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Some nameless politician, millions of miles away that have never met you, doesn't care if you're not starving or if you're only having to eat oatmeal every single day.
Right.
So again, don't think it actually works as a governing force for a country or even a tribe. All right. In most tribes, the grandparents do own the means of production because they own the land.
Right.
You're just sort of living there for free. And
right. And it doesn't get passed down until something happens to them.
Right. And it only gets passed down to the next person to take their place as the new grandparents or the new matriarchy or patriarchy of the family.
Right.
So again, it's that whole, it's that whole entire concept of what the serfdom and kingship, but not that bad because again, most clans, I want to say most clans were like maybe max 150 people.
Probably. It's probably a good estimate.
Yeah, and the best thing to show you what I'm talking about is there's a few shows out there. There was a movie with Patrick Swayze called Next of Kin. That was pretty good. That sort of shows this tribal type living I'm talking about.
Okay.
And another one was called what? The Outsiders.
Yeah.
It's about a family that lives way up in the mountains, and the modern cities tries to run them off, and they're still living a more rural style life, a hillbilly style life. And again, they have a lot of more of this clan style living that I'm talking about.
Okay.
All right. Maybe not to the extent. Again, this is all hyped up for TV and stuff.
Of course it is.
Go figure. Grain of salt. All right. Truckloads. Unlike our modern life, what connection do we really have?
We don't really. I mean, everything's so separated.
Well, no. Growing up, my grandparents didn't live more than 5 minutes away. But in the days of old, grandparents would have been close enough to where, hey, if I was going to run away and live with grandma, hey, we're just talking about me going a few acres over.
Right.
Versus a few miles down the road. Are you with me?
Yeah. I mean, one of my grandparents, they were almost an hour from us.
Right.
And the other one I could walk to.
Right.
So
walking to grandma's house should be a normal thing. I believe that we should have in society. It bothers me too that we are leaving one of the most essential things that we need to live in the hands of big corporations and stuff like that, which is food supply. And again, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there going, hey, you need to 100% grow all your own food. But no, you should at least grow a nice proportion of it.
Right.
for yourself. I mean, regardless of hotel or, I mean, an apartment or whatever, grow as much as you can. Because
Right.
again, losing that connection to nature like that just bothers me. That we got people nowadays that don't understand where milk comes from. They
How do
don't
you
understand where eggs come from.
how do you not
When
know
you
that?
ask them, hey, you get it, it's just at the store.
Okay.
But anything beyond the store, anything beyond the grocery store, they have no idea how it's done.
Lord. Can't believe anybody's like that.
When it comes to food, people are like, huh? I don't. People will sit there and hold ground beef and not be able to. It's ground beef. Well, yeah, but where does it come from? I don't know. I mean,
Oh my Lord.
they don't understand that this is the muscle and fat from a cow
That's that
ground up.
yeah, that's definitely sad. That should be remedied.
It's that whole entire thing, hey, if we just get the internet back, we can order whatever we need.
Right.
Really? I mean, there's more to it than just that. Again,
Mhm.
I think we need to bring that lifestyle back. We should be living on multi generational land around multi generational families. You playing with your cousins, to the point to where they're almost, like your brothers and sisters,
Mhm.
is a good thing.
Yeah, it would be
It's the
nice
way it
if we
should
could
be.
it'd be nice if we could get back to that. I don't know how. I don't know how. I mean,
Well, where I see a lot of this happening is with a lot of people wanting to do the homesteadings.
well, yeah, but again, you got to have land for that, and if your
Oh
family,
yeah,
if your clan isn't on board with that, then you've got to do it all yourself.
yeah, and then you're going to have to raise your family
Hmm.
to be. Hey, here's what's going to happen. Yeah, no, my boys are going to get land when they get old enough to build houses on, so they can
Hmm.
bring wives here and have more
Hmm.
kids.
Right.
Girls, I'm sorry, but yeah, our expectations for you to get married and move away.
Right.
You know, no offense to them, but that would be the expectations. And again, well, to do that, part of that doing that is yes, getting places where we have multiple clans
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Why it does seem to be harder to do it alone, but again, if you're getting married and you got kids and you do have parents or grandparents who are like, hey, our aunts and uncles, this makes sense. Let's
Mm.
all pull our money together and buy some land. We'll put it in this name and start it. It
Right.
could happen.
It could. It could.
You know, even non-families could technically do this. Hey, multiple families get together going, okay, no, we're not related, but we're going to live as if we are a clan.
Right. Turn it into more of a co-op
Right.
where everybody's
With
invested.
that right. And with the ultimate goal of having multi-generational families living
Hmm.
on
Right.
one land. And as everybody gets bigger and y'all get more people, that's more money coming in of people working jobs. And maybe not everybody has to go and get a job. And some people can stay at home and run a farm 24/7
Right.
and not have to worry about insurance and all this other stuff or worry about getting paid because other members of the community are kind of chipping in.
Right.
Excuse me, of your made up clan, I guess.
Right.
I don't have a problem with this. I mean, we had this whole entire concept of, and again, it was more in the gay community than anything else that well, our families might have not want to have anything to do with us, so we would just make our own families
Hmm.
and our own friends
Right.
and our own ties.
Right.
Taking that same concept to making our own clans, why not?
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason not to.
As long as y'all are working together and as long as you make sure that Bob actually does know how to raise pigs and it's not just bullshit, yeah.
Right.
Why not?
I mean, it would be. I see such benefit in this. You go back to the old adage, it takes a village, right,
Right.
to raise a kid. You've got that added benefit to where you all kind of take care of each other.
Well, it makes certain other things because again, I would encourage people to homeschool. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
let's admit it, the public school system ain't worth crap. I don't care
Mm,
what state you're in, or
not
unless
really.
you're going to some fancy school that most people can't afford.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I see Lady Keegan, and her kids are damn smart as hell,
Yeah, they
and she
are.
homeschools them. And yes, they learn year round.
Mm-hmm.
I'd still encourage all of us to do that. I still see where it's a more of a and actually a feature of our belief system that we encourage this. Just like we should be encouraging people to, again, if you get married and you're young, have babies. Have babies while you're young,
Right.
when you can enjoy them. Don't have them when you're older, when you can't.
I mean,
That way,
yeah.
it's different when you can actually get into the floor and play with your kids and go out there and actually play the games with the kids.
Right.
Instead, you're sitting there going, oh, ugh,
Oh, my back.
oh, my back. This is one of the things I think clan living would do. It would allow younger couples to be able to have kids at an earlier age and
Mm-hmm.
with not having to worry about schooling, not having to worry about daycare. Yes, you might have to go work in a mill or something to survive, for the clan survival, but it's not like they're not surrounded by family and cousins and other people.
Yeah, it's just like I said. You each you take care of each other. Everybody takes
You know,
care of everybody. It's
I mean, I,
essentially what
I
it
don't
boils
want to
down
sit
to.
there. I don't want to sit there and really get down all the daycare workers, but at the end of the day, they are workers. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
are they really going to go the extra mile that that aunt would for your kid because he stumped his toe, or she happens to be feeling bad that day, or sick, or to do the stuff grandmas used to do for us when
Right.
because when we got sick and we didn't go to school, we had to go to grandma's house because mom worked. And I'm sorry, I just don't see a daycare worker pampering me like my grandma did.
Mm-mm.
Are you with me? Because
Well,
I'm
no.
a grandkid.
Right. I was going to say they don't have the same investment.
Right.
So, I mean, it just goes to no, they're not going
I'm
to.
not saying they don't love the kids and won't do it, but again, there's still there's a little something else there when it's my grandkid or it's my grandma or
Exactly.
you know, it's my uncle, it's my, there's a little bit more pride there, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
or there is that familiar family connection that you actually have with these people.
Right.
This is how this stuff's really supposed to work. I think this is how we're really supposed to be living. The more I think about this, and the farther you go back in time, you see where in the world we were living in smaller and smaller groups, more this behavior happening because it was a means of survival.
Right.
Because I mean, I hate to be this way. How many of us would be desperately useless if the power goes out tomorrow?
Probably the majority of people. So,
And how many people would die automatically just because the power permanently goes out?
hmm. Yeah, because they don't know how to grow food or anything
Or
like that.
don't know how to clean, or well, say and again, I'm general populace here. All right, I remember there was a bad snowstorm where we live at in North Carolina. Us getting snow is very rare.
Mm-hmm.
When we do get it, it's pretty bad. So, and I remember we had one where people were dying because they were bringing their grills inside, lighting them up.
Yeah.
All right, or they didn't have power, or they would bring their generator inside and
Yeah, their gas powered
run it
generator.
in the gas powered generator inside.
Yeah.
For as much as we want to say we're intelligent, the reason there's warning labels is because someone did that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Someone used their hair dryer in the shower, hence the reason why it's on there. All right, if you want the level of stupidity of mankind, read warning labels.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, somebody did this.
Yep. Somebody had to do it for it to be there.
All right. So, no, my faith in humanity being smart is not very high sometimes, generally speaking.
I get it. Me neither.
So why would I trust some unknown person with something as valuable as my kids?
Right. No, I would much rather trust somebody that I knew.
A family member or something. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
know the dangers of, I've heard it. Yes, kids get abused by more family members than not, but I really believe if you got enough family members together, nobody's actually ever really left alone or
Right.
too long.
Right.
I've lived in one of those houses where you got a bunch of people. Getting alone time is very
Difficult
difficult,
and rare.
but when you do, and you do appreciate it when you get it, because I was raised in a semi-large family, so
Right.
it's hard. It's hard to get away with bad behavior in this type of setting.
Mm-hmm. But I think it would also like teach like a sense of responsibility. We're
Yes,
always talking about honor the land, honor your ancestors, honor your
right.
kin, honor the spirits, and all this other stuff. And this creates that perfect opportunity where you're teaching the kids, you know, hey, look, if you respect the land and you plant it and you till it and you do all this other stuff, it will give back to you, you know?
If you take care of this land, it will take care of you.
Right. And the
You
same
treat it
thing,
with respect.
well, and the same thing with your elders, we're taking care of you, you take care of us. It's a whole reciprocity thing.
Right. I love this idea. I hate we ever got away from it.
Right.
You got to remember, humanity used to live this way for how many eons? I mean, for how many generations before?
I couldn't even tell you. It's
I mean,
a long time.
we've only quit living this lifestyle since the modern age.
Right.
Since this whole industrial revolution, the whole 9 yards, this is the first time we've ever lived this way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's healthy for us to live in places like New York and Chicago, those big, and I don't mean that just them, like Charlotte and all these big cities. I don't think that's healthy for us. I think we really need to spread out more.
That, and we've gotten away with the advent of large cities and all of that. We've gotten away from being in touch with the land and being in touch with the seasons, and it's created a detachment,
Well, and I don't mean this mean, but it's hard to have an attachment to the land when you're renting an apartment.
Exactly, and you're 20 feet off the ground.
And you're right, and you're not sitting there working the land, getting food from it, the whole 9 yards. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to live this type of lifestyle and you live in the city and you're still that single parent with a kid, I still think you can do this. I just think you have to change your tactics. You start with the neighbors around you when you start more of that tribal setting of families working together.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe pulling your resources to buy 10 acres of land outside the city to start to farm and work on the land
right.
a little at a time. So before you sit there and you go, hey, but, I live all the way out. We can't do this because of, I think you can. It just takes time. It may take a few generations for you to get land and stuff, but hey, go for it.
I was gonna say time and a little effort.
Yeah.
And what's the old saying that anything that's worth it is worth putting a little effort into?
Yep. I know some people might sit there and ask me, about this, and they're like, well, what happens if you want to leave the farm? I'm not suggesting we get rid of cities.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not suggesting that we don't still need, I'm not going to sit here and tell you iPads aren't cool and that we're going to still want to buy them.
Right.
Even though we're living in a more, clan type setting. Being able to leave the farm and go work in the city for 6 months, make enough money to go back and maybe buy some more, help the family buy more land, or work for 6 months just to have health insurance for your family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with that. If you don't want to live on the farm, you can just stay in the city all the time if you really want. I think we just need to make it in society to where it's not that comfortable or easy to have a family inside the city.
Well, I mean,
Per se,
I kind of see that as like the Amish. The Amish have a time when their kids reach a certain age. They,
right.
I think they call it Rumspringa or something like that, where they allow the kids to go out and experience the world. And sometimes the kids come back and they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. And sometimes they're like, you know what? I want to go live in the city.
So again, I don't want to think of I don't want people to think if we were to move to a society like this, that I would want one where if you were raised on a farm, you had to stay on the farm. I would want it to where you still have the freedom to leave if you really wanted to.
Right.
At the heart of it, you still know you still got a place to go back to that will accept you back if they really want you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because most people don't turn family away just because they decided not to move back home.
Right.
And we started to push this whole entire culture of this nuclear family, and I don't like that either. We shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have gotten rid of the Waltons.
I completely agree. And I was gonna say I think that something like this would actually restore, or at least help to restore, that type of mentality where the family, the family was important and the family stayed together. I think this also creates an opportunity for framing your daily tasks like gardening, cooking, crafting, all these things as connection to spirit, connection to the divine. It integrates, it reintegrates your daily life with spirituality.
Oh yeah. Trust me, it is completely different when you're sitting there pulling the tomatoes off your vine, walking inside and making your own marinara sauce and eating something from scratch.
Right. And then, and when this happens, the way I see it, and probably the way you see it, is, your homestead, the entire homestead, is no longer just a residence. The whole place, the land, the home, the everything is now a ritual space.
Yes. You are living our belief system right then and there.
Exactly.
I mean, because you are living as part of nature.
Right. It becomes an actual living religion.
Yes. At that point, that's why I think that's why we separate our religious life now from just our lives. It's because we took that part away and threw it away and put labels and wrapped it in plastic instead.
Mm-hmm.
So, just saying. Right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the convenience of a grocery store, but
it does have its perks. All right. Well, if that's it, like, subscribe, comment,
share, please share.
Send us an email, whatever.
I know. Tell us how much you hate us.
Yeah.
All right.
Until then, we're going to go get some more coffee. Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with